Hi, Daniel. This is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. Thanks for sending me that email. I got it this weekend. I hope you had a good long weekend. I'm going to take a look at the 4 stocks that you sent to me. We're going to start with Switchback Energy Acquisition Corp, SBE, then get on to Amkor Technology from there. Then we'll take a look at Litecoin and finish up with a look at the shorter term timeframes on Tesla per your request. So let's dive right in. Here's a look at SBE, Switchback Energy Acquisition Corporation. It was incepted back in 2019. Didn't do much until later in 2020, and then it really kicked it into gear, moving from about 10 up to nearly 50 in late 2020 before it stalled and pulled back. So really there's only one interesting pattern that's taken place on SBE since its inception, and that's been over the last handful of months. And what we're seeing here is a nice 5-wave advance to the upside that completed in at the December high, and since then has been in a counter trend pullback to the downside. So on the long-term time frame, this is bullish stuff because we're getting trendy 5-wave patterns to the upside, which is what we expect to see when the trend is up. And when we dive in here, we'll see that this is counter trend movement to the downside. So on a very long-term time frame, you got to be bullish. The trends are happening to the upside, counter trend moves to the downside. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the 2021 action. This takes a closer look at what's happened in recent months here. You can see the initial down leg that happened off of December's high back in 2020 is a clear 3-wave move, a good sign that this is a counter trend move if the dead sideways choppy action didn't give it away for you already. So here's where I think we are on this counter trend move. This looks like an A wave down. You can again see that 3-wave move to the downside. Since then, it's been a lot of sideways back and forth movement. There's been some big swings in there, but net it's been sideways. It doesn't look like this counter trend pullback has ended yet. It appears to me that it's still in a B wave. What's happened since mid-January or so is you've had the slow kind of really choppy back and forth move that looks like it's all part of a larger B wave, which may not yet be complete. We might still get a move back up and then get that C wave down. Whatever the case may be, this looks like one big counter trend move that is not yet over. We would like to see an ending pattern to the downside before considering this a really good buying opportunity. If we go back to this other chart here, we see the yellow support area here. SBE is going to remain bullish as long as it's trading above 25. And again, we'd probably expect a move below the low that was recorded in early January to complete this counter trend pullback before it's over. As long as it stays above 25 while it's doing that, we'd be looking for another 5-wave advance to emerge once that counter trend pullback completes. So that is SBE. Let's go ahead and take a look at AMKR, Amkor Technology. It's been around for a long time, incepted back in 1998. Had a huge spike up back then, went from 5 to about 65, gave it all back over the following couple years. And since then, there's been some big swings, particularly off the 2020 low. But honestly, it's been one big choppy counter trend move over that time frame. Now, if you looked at just a Fibonacci retracement of that huge down leg that played out in 2000, 2001, 2002, the bottom of this yellow retracement area represents a 38.2% retracement of this down move. The top of it represents a 61.8% retracement. This is what we call our Fibonacci retracement area. We expect counter trend moves to retrace a Fibonacci portion of the preceding trendy move. Not saying that this is necessarily trendy, but it's a pretty sharp move. We certainly can't rule it out. The whole point that I'm driving at here is, despite the strength that we're seeing in 2020, this still fits pretty nicely as just one big counter trend move. Hard to be super bullish on any larger time frame based on this action here that we're seeing. So let's go ahead and zoom in. We'll take a look at action off the 2009 low because that represents the last low that was really recorded since price turned up to the upside. And this kind of bears that out as well. If we look at what's happened off that 2009 low, that first up leg, as you can see, is an A, B, C move. This is a 3-wave move. What do we know about 3-wave moves? They're counter trend in nature, so it's not a great start here. So unless we believe that this truncated somewhere and a new uptrend started from a truncation, which is nothing we ever really expect to happen, this looks like a counter trend move. If we look overall, we see an A, a B wave, and then a very sharp move that's happened off of the 2020 low. Beautiful move, and we'll look at this a little bit closer. But on this time frame, it still looks just like a C wave to the upside that will eventually give way to a resumption of the overall downtrend. So don't like that part on this time frame either. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look at just the advance off the 2020 low. Now this is a nice move. If this is what you're trading and this is all you care about, it looks good and it looks like it's not over yet. The best fit that I can find as how to label this move off of March's low is as a first wave up into July's high, a second wave pullback into the late October low, and since then in a third wave advance that's still got some work to do before it completes. And I have us in that third wave advance currently. So unfortunately, when you have a move that goes from 16 to 26 over the course of like a week, you're not going to have a super close stop level. But the closest level that we can use that has any kind of significance is 1925. A move below 1925 at any point would indicate that a more important high is in. I think there's more strength that lies ahead in this C-wave advance before it's over. If we step back out, we see that this it could technically go all the way up to 40 and still fit as a counter trend move. So there's still a lot of upside potential here for this to flesh out as a 5-wave move, as a larger 5-wave move, but I just don't think it's bullish on any larger time frame. So I think you expect higher prices. You look for the advance off the 2020 low to ultimately become a larger 5-wave advance. And as long as it stays above 1925, you can remain bullish. But on any larger time frame, I'd be careful because it does not look like this is anything other than a very large counter trend move. So okay, let's move on to Litecoin here. This one gave me a little bit of trouble, and I'll show you why. We've got a handful of charts to look at. Similar to Amkor, you have a very large up move followed by a very large down move, and since then you have a back and forth move that is proven to be stronger more recently. Now, this has nothing to do with my opinion on things or what I think is going on in the world. All we care about is the Elliott Wave pattern. What is it telling us? Is it a good buying opportunity based strictly on what the Elliott Wave pattern is? Nothing to do with opinion or subjectivity or anything like that. In that respect, it's fairly tough to be bullish on any larger time frame when you see the sideways move off the 2018 low that's gone back and forth and sports a general 3-wave form. I mean, basic Elliott Wave 101, 3-wave moves are counter trend moves. So again, unless we want to bank on some type of truncated end to the action, like say a low happening here in 2020, even though there's no good reason for us to think that happened, then we have to think it's a counter trend move. It's still in a yellow in the Fibonacci retracement area, shown in yellow, of this down leg here. And again, it still looks like a 3-wave move. So that said, let's zoom in and see if we can figure out a little bit more by looking at the shorter time frames. So this here takes a look at the action, zoom out, off of this low here. So this, what I was calling that 3-wave move to the upside. And it bears out. I mean, you have the up move, you have a revisit of that low via 3-wave move, and then you have kind of a slow start, and then the best move that we've seen on Litecoin ever, really, the action that's happened since late 2020 to the current spot. But you have this action here. There's no good reason for us to think that this 3-wave move that didn't even set a new low was the true low. This looks like the true low. If this was the true low, then this is the counter trend move to the upside. And that is the concern. So unless we're guessing at it and just flipping a coin and saying, well, I want to like Litecoin, we really can't do it objectively. Despite that, the best move by far on Litecoin that we've ever seen on this guy is the 5-wave move that it is currently in. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this very strong, impressive move that's kind of emerged since October. There's kind of a slow, choppy beginning to things, but then it really got going in October. And then really got going in 2021, but you have a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth wave up. Seems fairly clear. Again, like we looked at Amkor, it's hard to put a really close stop level on a move that goes from 120 to 230 over the course of a week or two. Massive. However, a move below 160 at any point says that this 5-wave advance is over. That's definitely a level to watch. It's not super close, but again, what can you do when you have a stock that moves so fast? So let's go ahead and zoom in now on this up leg that's played out off of the 2021 low. So here's that up leg. Again, it as well looks like a 5-wave move to the upside. So overall, it looks like it could be getting closer to a high, but I think the one thing that we want to take away, and if we zoom in a little bit closer, even on the more proximate action, it'll make more sense, is that what we're seeing now is still bullish action to the upside. You can see the pullback off of last week's high, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's a 3-wave pullback. The recovery that we've seen to the upside, a very clear 5-wave move. the pullback that followed, a very clear 3-wave move. This little up leg looks like a small 5-wave move. Everything that's happening in both directions, still trendy, still bullish to the upside, still counter trend action to the downside. So as long as that's the case, Litecoin looks bullish. Our concern is that it is getting closer to a 5th wave high, and once we get a 5-wave move off of this high here, then there will be concerns. For now, we remain bullish. There's that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla. Just looking at the short-term time frame, I'm going to give you a little bit of context here just to put it all into perspective. We are in a large 5-wave advance. It started in 2019 when Tesla was trading, I think, around 30 at the time. Since then, it's blasted off to the upside and is currently trading at about 816. So we're in a 5th wave of a very large advance. Let's go ahead and zoom in. This takes a little bit closer look at that 5-wave advance. Within wave 5, we appear to be in a 4th wave pullback, waiting for a 5th wave up. We seem to be getting closer to a high, but there is no reason to think that a major high is in quite yet. Let's go ahead and zoom in one more time and take a look at this 5th wave advance here. There was a triangle pattern that completed in November. Since then, we had a nice 1st wave up, 2nd wave pullback, 3rd wave advance, and since the start of the year in January, we've traded sideways. Very clearly counter trend price action that keeps Tesla pointing higher overall. Now, the key level that we're watching is 715. We don't want to see a move below that level because that would negate this labeling right here. But like I said, this looks like a counter trend move. As long as it's trading above 715, we're going to be looking for another blast off to the upside. At that point, we could be talking about the completion of a very large 5th wave advance, followed by a very large counter trend pullback, something down into this yellow area here, around 360 to 570. It's probably going to be a little bit higher depending on how high we get before a high is in. Nevertheless, once that 5th wave advance completes, it's going to be time to get away and allow for a much larger pullback on Tesla. So, Daniel, hope that's helpful. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Look forward to another fun week ahead. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.